Understanding the marketing environment is not a theoretical exercise. It is a practical necessity. In disaster situations, conditions evolve rapidly. A cyclone can destroy infrastructure overnight, or donor funding may shift suddenly towards a new priority. Agencies that monitor the environment can adapt quickly and maintain continuity in relief operations. Environmental awareness also strengthens the stakeholder trust. By understanding the community expectations and donor requirements, the agencies can design the communication and outreach strategies that are transparent and culturally appropriate. This trust is vital during crisis when when the misinformation and fear can spread easily. Furthermore, knowing both internal and external factors help optimize resource allocation. Limited funds, staff, and materials can be directed to the most urgent needs. Finally, this awareness fosters risk preparedness, enabling the organizations to anticipate bottlenecks, regulatory constraints, or logistical issues before they become critical obstacles. Environmental scanning is the process through which organizations systematically gather, analyze, and interpret information about their external environment. It transforms raw data into actionable intelligence. In business, scanning helps firms identify market trends, consumer preferences, or competitor activities. In disaster management, however, environmental scanning acquires a broader and more urgent dimension. It includes monitoring natural indicators such as rainfall patterns or seismic activity, social indicators like migration or health trends, and economic political signals such as funding shifts or policy reforms. For example, by tracking early signs of drought or fluctuations in commodity prices, relief agencies can pre-position food supplies and allocate funds before a crisis intensifies. The key objective of scanning is to reduce uncertainty, to move from reactive response to proactive preparedness. Environmental scanning typically employs the PASTE framework, analyzing four critical domains. The political environment includes government disaster policies, legal frameworks, and international agreements influencing response operations. The economic environment looks at funding availability, inflation, and supply chain stability, factors that determine how effectively the resources can be mobilized. The social environment focuses on demographics, cultural beliefs, and public behavior, ensuring that interventions are equitable and sensitive to local customers. The technological environment emphasizes innovation such as drones, GIS mapping, and digital communication, which are now central to disaster preparedness. Agencies collect this information using diverse methods, reviewing the secondary data like meteorological reports, conducting field surveys, holding consultations with local leaders, and using big data or social media analytics for real-time monitoring. Together, these tools enable decision makers to anticipate challenges and plan strategic interventions grounded in evidence. The strategic value of environmental scanning lies in its ability to transform information into preparedness. In disaster management, timely intelligence can save lives and resources. For instance, accurate scanning before monsoon floods allows the humanitarian agencies to map the vulnerable zones, stockpile relief materials, and design targeted communication campaigns. Beyond operational readiness, scanning fosters the collaboration and trust among the stakeholders. When organizations share and insight, coordination improves across the government bodies, NGOs, and private partners. This reduces duplication and ensures aid reaches those most in from a marketing perspective. This scanning ensures that products of disaster management, whether awareness campaign, relief kits, or training programs, are relevant, timely, and culturally aligned. Ultimately, it strengthens resilience by building systems that learn, adapt, and evolve with changing conditions. In summary, environmental scanning is not a peripheral activity. It is the backbone of strategic disaster response and critical component of sustainable humanitarian marketing. As we conclude the Unit 2, Part 1, it is clear that the understanding the marketing environment is not an academic exercise alone. It is strategically necessary for every organization. The marketing environment represents the total of internal and external forces that influence decision making, planning, and implementation. It is this dynamic environment that shapes consumer behavior, competitive positioning, and even survival in turbulent markets. Environmental scanning, as we discussed, is the systematic process of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting information about these forces. It helps organizations identify the early warning signals, detect emergency opportunities, and the minimizing the risks before they escalate. In stable markets, scanning ensures the competitiveness. In disaster or crisis context, it determines resilience and community. For managers, humanitarian agencies, and policymakers, the ability to read the environment is as important as the ability to respond. Crises such as pandemics, conflicts, or climate-related disasters can alter supply chains and consumer priorities. Hence, continuous monitoring and flexibility are the lifelines of effective marketing management. Ultimately, the marketing environment is not static. It is a living system that evolves with time, technology, and society. Those organizations that engage in constant environmental scanning and strategic adaptability are the ones that sustain growth and trust even amid disruption. Understanding the marketing environment, therefore, is the first step toward the marketing system that is both responsible and resilient. Thank you.